Welcome everybody. Welcome. Thanks for coming. Brother. Sorry. Welcome, y'all. Welcome. We fuck with you too, brother. NT, keep up the fine work. Um, um, brother AM1, if you're still there, let me know. If you're trying to get back on, let me know. So I know he was on earlier. AM1, if you're still in the chat, let me know. If you can't get back on, I might have to pull you from the chat. Oh, man. Let me shout out to the people till we get them back. Shout out to Sid57. Thanks for coming. Hope you subscribe back. The cynical one, as always. Thanks for coming, sis. My nephew, Autism Boy. What's good? What's good, nephew? Glad you come. Brother Antique, as always a pleasure. We got to talk about some more Knicks stuff too. Trades and stuff. I think some trades gonna be happening soon. And I got an idea. Okay, AM1, stay right there. AM1, whatever you do, stay right there. I'm gonna send you the link. Yeah. AM1, stay right there. The link that I'm gonna put in it, only AM1 get the link. Now, nobody else. Nobody else. Bugging, man. Ain't you doing that? Links, man. So AM1, you just come up there. Hey, Miss Knight, how you doing? That's only for brother AM1. That's only for brother AM1. Did you see the link? All right. Let me remove this. Remove. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, Masona. Sorry. Not you. I didn't mean to do this to you. Sorry. Type some more in there. I didn't mean to hit you. I meant to hit the link. Oh, we're gonna bring brother AM1 back. Sorry about that, brother.
JT, what's good?
I'm good. We welcome back to one and only brother AM1. Type something back, Miss Sister Knight. Sorry about that. Let me get these quick announcements out the way. Welcome to my channel, The Underrated Darkness. Yours truly, the number one grinder, one of the best kept secrets on social media. Better believe that. Shout out to my underrated one family. I can see you part of the family, brother AM1. You always hold down everything. So you part of this, definitely part of the underrated one family. Always thank you for always your own way, support me and everything, what I'm doing. So salute you. We're gonna get into that too. Go, yo, we got something for y'all when we was talking before we start that y'all need to hear that. But shout out to Brother McLean, No Ducks on podcast, and his wife and his family. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to the Mike LDBC, brother at 7A Sports TV. I was rolling with them throughout the year, still rolling with them now. Shout out to y'all. Let's keep the fine work. And this is the chop up on the Doctors Roundtable, the one and only. Told y'all. I told y'all I'm AM1 coming. I told y'all. But he's here. And so Oakland owned. Brother AM1. So tell people about yourself first.
Yeah, man. Shout out to you, first of all, JT, Underrated Darkness, one of my day ones on this YouTube streets, Black Manosphere, like years in the game. So it's long overdue for me to come circle back and pull up, spin the block, and come say what's up over on your channel. So appreciate you welcoming me here. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We're just gonna chop it up. And then shout out to the fact that you greeted me and showed me love with Telegraph, Telegraph Avenue, Fox Theater, Oakland background. Before the show, I noticed you had that in the background, and that's wild because that's like, it's downtown Oakland. So for the people who know, Fox Theater, and then right over on Broadway, you got Paramount Theater. And I used to have a studio space uh, literally on that exact same street. So I'm referring to the background image behind JT right now, Fox Theater, Oakland. So this is a place that's really dear to me because I put in a lot of work doing community event stuff. I did a really dope open mic event right there on that street. And I've put in a lot of work for promotion and marketing, building my career right there on that exact street and just all over Oakland. So yeah, AM1, I'm a videographer, multimedia producer, Oakland, California, and now getting into fitness consulting as well. So that's kind of my new trajectory. Just celebrated my 10-year anniversary of AM1. AM1 Create.
I see. Yeah, I see that.
So that's that's my business, my media company. So videography, filmmaking, motion graphic design. Been running that 10 years. So really longer, but 10 years officially. Just hit that mark. And like I said, we're going into the fitness nutrition space as well. Just got certified as a personal trainer, fitness over 40. My birthday is next week. I'll be 47. So
47.
The most fit of my life.
I thought you were 37. I'm just
yeah, man. I'm just trying to stay youthful, reverse age, So I'm big on that.
I appreciate that. I want to touch on the conversation that we had about 10 minutes ago. That's very good. We chop it up, and I want to get into that first. Now, usually I ask you questions. You gonna ask me questions about me, but this gonna be different because I want y'all to understand the importance of Oakland, California, as we talk about other cities in the past had itself, rightfully so. But for me, now tell me if I'm right or wrong, brother AM1. For me, Oakland was one of the cities, for me, I'm talking about for me born and raised Brooklyn, New York. I knew people that live in Oakland. For me, when it comes for entrepreneurship, stand up, being black and proud. When our men come home from World War One, Two, One and Two, in the Korean War, in the Vietnam War, one of the first places they know they can get work go to, they went to Oakland, California. In 1966, that's when the Black Panther was formed. That's the same year KWANZAA was discovered in Oakland, California, as you see. Now, why it did to me, I was born in 66, yeah, but to really learn about it when I was very, very young. And when I got older in my preteens into being a man and stuff, it seems like we don't talk about Oakland that we should. That Oakland, that your brothers and sisters were fighting for us as a people throughout the country, even throughout the world. Now, I want you to expand on that, please, as you Oakland born.
Yeah, man. I mean, obviously, that is a true right and exact history for Oakland, Black Panthers, civil rights movement, Black liberation. Absolutely. And interestingly enough, to this day, one of my clients and a good friend and brother of mine still works with one of the still living Panthers. And a lot of what he does is based in that. So his parents were involved with the Panthers. And like I said, one of his mentors is one of the original Panthers. So that still even flows through even directly to myself. Now, there was a lot of things from Oakland, from the music scene, obviously a lot of jazz over in San Francisco. Got to give a shout out to San Francisco. It had the Fillmore. Yeah. So that was kind of like the Harlem of San Francisco. So, but Oakland was kind of more of the chocolate city of Northern California period, really. And myself growing up, early 80s, it was all I would see is just Black folks. like for the most part where I lived at the time, North Oakland, and going to Asheville Flea Market, just really soaking up the energy and the whole, the 80s. Still, they talked about the Panthers and establishing that, and there was still more of that community element amongst Black folks in the Bay. And then, as you know, as we kind of fast forwarded to the 2000s, there was the discussion about gentrification and the lack of generational wealth carrying over. Grandma, big mama selling a house, people moving away, and then the culture kind of shifting. So I don't know. It's kind of a bittersweet thing to me, right? Because I love the idea of our people and empowering our people, but I'm a little bit too real about it for most, to where I'm not the type to just reminisce on the good times. I'm more like, okay, cool. I see the movement that was made from that. Let's take the parts from that and let's make sure we honor what those young brothers and sisters did and the energy they put out and what they organized and the moves they made in the streets. And let's make sure we're moving like that, how they did, but in a strategic way that's based on the 2000s, that's based on a quarter century into the 2000s. You know what I mean? It's 2025, a quarter of a century. Let's take back what the young brothers and sisters did then, and let's apply it in a way that's more, if we're going to fight for liberation, fight for freedom, liberate our people, well, we got to really understand what that means in a modern context. And unfortunately, from my observation, that's lost on a lot of people. People like to reminisce on what, Huey P. Newton did, and, just that whole energy of that. And that's just kind of the civil rights movement in general. I don't know. I don't want to go too much into that, or, I'll leave it at that for now, but I want to be careful to take it in the right direction because I have a lot of thoughts on that. And again, it's dear to me, and there's some bittersweet to that. But I'm all for the empowerment, and that's a part of me, and I grew up with that. But I'm still, I've been fighting my own fight relative to our people and culture in the Bay, and have suffered some interesting setbacks, like in a sense of really being slapped in the face with, yeah, people talk a good game about really trying to make moves for our people, but when the rubber meets the road, a lot of people really ain't about that. And a lot of people, I'll just leave it at that. Ain't really about what they've been saying. I can expand on that more if you want, or we can go in a different direction.
No, you know what I'm thinking about, brother? Now I want to see, before we continue, I'm thinking about bringing you back to do a part 2.
Sure.
So we can expand on that. I think that's a valid point we should talk about, because I think that, but for me, I'm letting you know how I feel about it. That we stuck. We could take pieces what happened before, and we can still make our own movement. Still have the spirit behind it, but make it our own. And I think that sometimes that there's like, I don't want to go forward because I don't know. But see, if we understand that they gave us the blueprint, right, to go about doing it, it doesn't mean that we have to abandon their blueprint. It's really just evolve our own blueprint to push it for of this time.
Right. And
that's what sometimes that we stop. You know what I mean? They are like you. I talked to some people, right? I knew his brother. I'll be get to ask question. I knew this brother. He was in fraternity, right? Grew up, born and raised in Brooklyn. Fraternity and stuff. I'm not gonna say a fraternity name. I'm not, So I said, yeah, but yeah, you. I see you over there. Help up the ones that hurt our people. That looks like us. What about the ones that is doing it? Why you don't help them? I mean, why you stuck there? You do you supposed to be in this time now, not them. And until this day, we not that should. So I understand what you're saying, because sometimes when we make certain steps to do what's right, ain't a lot of people ain't gonna want to come with us, and we have to understand that a loss is a loss, you know. But I appreciate you here and everything. But one question I want to ask you: do you have parents still living, siblings and stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, no, most definitely. My mom was she's out on a vacation. She was just sending me some pictures from her trip earlier. So she's having a blast, eating good, chilling. My father passed away 2012, I think, and
Oh,
grew up
sorry
my
about that.
yeah, no, I grew up my whole life not ever having met my father. So it is what it is. Had a stepdad growing up, older uncles and whatnot, older brother. So definitely had a lot of proper masculine influence in my life. So yeah, that sums that up. But yeah, no, my nuclear family, pretty much that I grew up with, still close with them, still in contact with them. But you know, my older brother, he has his whole family, so he's a grandfather now, so he got his whole big wing of the family. My
Mm.
younger brother, no kids, so I have no kids, so I'm just the uncle, you know. I'm
Mm. Your
the
uncle.
OG unk. Apparently, I'm the
OG.
OG unk.
Oh,
Pulling up
OG.
on 47. Oh, I guess I got
Yeah,
OG stripes.
OG Unk. That's what they call him, OG Unk. Yeah, okay.
Something like an OG unk.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. All right. Cool. Now, another question for you. Oh yeah. Before I continue, thanks for the compliment, brother. I really appreciate it. Come from you, and I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Mean a lot to me that comes from you. And I want to ask you this question. You've been in this space for a long time, as me and you is. We see the overturn, the underturns, some good, mostly bad. In your foresight, because I've been telling people that I trust brother AM1, because he been in this space a long time. He been one of the movers and the shakers that I'm gonna say like this, that the brothers little by little had tried to push aside, because he want us. He said, "I want you to be great, but you gotta be accountable." Hear that? You know, I remember that. I forgot what channel it was years ago. He said, I remember you saying, you know, we cannot reach some, but we got to reach all brothers. You cannot pick and choose." And so, being in the space in a long time, as we call each other vets, right? Me being the space, I'm gonna put it to you, being in the space for a long time. How do you feel about this space? Do you think the space is moving forward or backwards? Your input, please.
All right, so that's an interesting way to put it, right? Because in my mind, I had to come to terms with the fact that the way I entered into this, I just had it all wrong from the jump, right? Because I came into this through the lane of O'Shea. So I would pull up on a lot of O'Shea streams and then with super chat and then interact. And then by some kind of way, uh, it became known to him that I was from Oakland and I was a videographer. So he said, come chat it up with me and let's do a stream. So my first interaction with sort of YouTube, Black Manosphere was through O'Shea. So I came in as a guy who was already doing stuff in the real world. I'd already been throwing events, had a lot of success with that, had started my videography career, had success with that. So I come into the space thinking, oh, interact with Black people online from around the country, around the world. Okay, I love that. And then there was sort of the Black Manosphere wing of it, where it was parallel to this apparently white manosphere that had been around. So it's like kind of men's rights advocacy and focusing on perils and downfalls with women. So I like you, some other names from way back in the day, like Gab, Brother X, some of the guys that have been rocking, obviously Super Sly still rocking with him to this day. Just, you know, even Taz, you know, Sunday Rumble, we used to get it in.
Right, exactly.
ABL on the streams, Cynthia G, even just, you know, we used to wild out back in the day. It was super fun. But there was, you know, it was effery going on, and it was, let's talk about Black issues, let's talk about these different things. So I came in thinking, okay, well, I've had some successes in the real world. And I think this is, oh, black folks getting it in. Let's network. I met Erica by way of this, Erica Williams. And then she flew me out, hired me to do videography work, had me up at the Earn Your Leisure events. I know you know about Earn Your Leisure, right? They dudes blew up. She had me at
Right.
Earn Your Leisure events, paid me to go there, and I'm soaking up game from these guys. And this is before they blew up. This is pre-COVID, like right before they blew up online. So I'm saying this to say I'm coming into this Black YouTube space, Black Manosphere space, with the same networking mentality, the same grind that I learned and put in from growing up in the town, being in the Bay, really grinding, really building something. So when I realized, like, oh, this Black Manosphere thing, where we're going to talk about men and what men are doing, I realized eventually, or it kind of tapered off into focus on women and what women are doing or ain't doing. And that is a proper and serious part of manhood, right? But I'm so solutions oriented to where my stance on it started to become like a lot of this stuff is cyclical. Super chats was coming in. Oh, we figured out how to profit from just talking about this same subject over and over. And I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. Some of these guys in here are talking about game and talking about issues with women. There's valid issues. I get all of this stuff, but when it starts to become like we're going to talk about building better men by way of only just talking about downsides with dumb women, and then it's rage out about the women. And in my mind, I'm like, well, yeah, I've dealt with stupid women, but when I step back as a man and look at it, those are choices I made to interact with those women. And as I got older and wiser, I realized, the juice ain't worth the squeeze if I want to do that. Just pure wisdom. And, I coined phrases throughout this manosphere thing like, we're in the era of babies who had babies who had babies. Because, man, if you've seen some of the stuff I've seen growing up in the Bay, yeah, right in the hood, like with all kind of just craziness. Like, we have to do a whole other stream to talk about that. But realizing a lot of people who fell into this space had different issues and really brought their baggage with them and was able to just get their ish off and meet other people doing it. And then it became, for the most part, it kind of consolidated down to the women. And I'm like, fam, what about the skills and resources piece? That was another phrase I kind of coined and brought to the space. Like, y'all want to talk about women all day. I'm over here trying to talk about skills and resources, the very thing that allowed me to build a solid 10-year career plus doing visual media work that allowed me to have more freedom than most people I know. So if we want to talk about building Black men and Black people, whatever, I think we need to be going this entrepreneurship route, this creativity route, this skills trade route, more so than complaining about the opposite sex. So I just had it all wrong, apparently, because if we're going to talk about making better people, Black folks making better men, it was like, nah, we just want to create something where it's this more entertainment thing based on some kind of gender war thing. And I get it, effery, and I understand that's appealing. And that whole thing is just taking off even more beyond, Black YouTube, Black Manosphere, White Manosphere, Fresh and Fit, whatever podcast. Like I see it now. So many, man, the proliferation, the expansion of gender war content creators. Go to TikTok and just download a bunch of stuff as your reaction videos. It's insane, man. So no, basically the whole thing was a waste. We got to watch the rise and fall of Kevin Samuels. So the whole thing of, oh, guys are getting the crazy studio setups and backdrops. Yeah. And now we all want to just analyze the women. And shout out to Ty City. I don't know if you know Ty City, but he coined the phrase SBE, shame, blame, and explain, and sometimes complain. So SBE and him, Ramil, and I kind of jumped in on that because that was just hilarious because I have a dark sense of humor, petty side of myself to where it's like, you know what? If you guys want to cry about women all day and try to explain to them how they need to act right, I think that's kind of corny because the kind of guys I rock with, we don't move like that. So the petty side of me is going to be like, I'm about to roast you for that. I'm going to make fun of y'all for that because I don't have those problems. Like, first of all, I never had problems getting women. So it is what it is. And then when it's a thing of, well, the women that I do get bring me all kind of drama and they don't act right and blah, blah, blah. It's like, fam, cut them loose. Like, figure out how to sort that. I don't know, man. I just don't have some of these problems and I'm more focused on building a business and get my money up, skills and resources. They don't want to hear that. All right, let me calm down. Let me calm down.
No, brother, no. You put a smile on my face because I had somebody told me, hey, JT, I never see you with a woman. So I like you, I was real petty. Ask your mama. I have your mom in a certain way. I didn't curse now. I'm not gonna curse on here. I have your mama though. Your mama like it. And also I had your sister too. I pimp out too. Leave me alone now. See, you don't this is brothers. See, I want people to understand that what brother A1 saying and what we saying, it's still happening now. But the sad thing about it, we don't have no ownership of doing better. Every phase of social media is making money off us, right? Instead of we put in like brother AM1, be entrepreneur, but you got to know you had entrepreneur within yourself too. And so, for me, when AM1, I'm clowning. I dare you. I tell anybody, I dare you. I'm just trying to make fun of me. And so I'm saying, like, how you gonna make fun of me though? And then I did a lot, right? I was eating at the steak place around the corner where I live at, right? And they see this white, oh yeah, they attend to me, you know, oh yeah, he always come over here. And they said, whoa. Nah, that's not the only time I be around women. I don't have to let you know I be around women because I'm very comfortable with women. Because I'm very sure of myself about women, be around women. See, there's a big difference. There's a big difference, you know, and so people, so that's it. That also you can. I want you to ask me questions, brother. Ask me questions. No doubt about it. That's me.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's just interesting because I didn't know that. I'm kind of curious. People, you said that people say you're cool with AM1, and I'm like, and I get it, but I guess part of it is the whole online thing, Black YouTube, Black Manosphere, and I talk about entrepreneurship, right? And that's the thing. I understand some guys haven't really done or built anything in the real world. So when I'm talking about entrepreneurship, building something, they're like, well, this is now my entrepreneurship because I'm trying to get some YouTube fame and then get monetized and super chat, blah, blah, blah. So, and they're like, you're hating on that because I'm trying to do it by way of finding something that's in demand. So you feel a demand that is entrepreneurship, but the demand is talk about some perpetuated cyclical discussion that never ends. Because of course we don't want it to end because we need people to keep talking about it. And it has to be about the women and what's wrong with the women because it just never ends. But I'm like, I just can't relate to that, especially when you call it, you know, you run that, but under the guise of trying to make better men. And to your point, you just illustrated there, you're comfortable with women. You don't have issues with women. So probably similar to myself, I just can't sit around and talk about women all day like that because it's like, that's not a big challenge for me. It's like,
but you know what? Actually let me know. We gonna. I'm being petty tonight. I'm just letting you know right now. We
don't get me started. Don't have me go there, because man,
I'm being petty tonight. So, brother AM1, we've been in this space for a long time, right? I want you to be honest. You gonna be honest with me because me and AM1, we good like that. So that actually means that if y'all have problems with women, and I'm talking about the one that the 6 figures, as you're actually paying for it.
Wait, say that again. Run that by me again.
I said the brothers to keep on complaining about the women. I'm talking about some of them, right? The one who make the 6 figures. It's safe to say that on the down low, you're really paying for the puss.
Well, okay, so I see where you're going with that, and that's a whole other can of worms of discussion, right? Because that's something that goes on a discussion in these spaces, tricking or who's tricking, who gets it for the free, blah blah blah, anywhere in between. And you know, in my old, you see the salt and pepper. In my old age, I realized, and I was just having a discussion with the homie the other day about this, like the way the world is, the economy is now, and you know, kind of traditional things. Well, you do the courtship thing, you jump through these certain hoops, and that kind of got way off the rails up until now. So you know, a lot of issues guys have with the dating scene is kind of tricky. Now, my overall official stance, coming from the Bay, kind of soaking up some of that player kind of vibe, which I avoid speaking that way because that whole player thing got way watered down. But without a doubt, I soaked up a lot of that, for better or for worse. I always came from the position of I'm not paying for it. However, at times in my life where I didn't know better, I kind of bought into the idea that, oh, well, you do got to kind of do the dating thing, do the traditional blah, blah, blah. So where I'm going with this is, to a certain degree, all of those hoops that you're jumping through is a form of paying anyway. It is a form of tricking anyway. So when you kind of break that out to the idea of somebody just getting straight to the point and paying, I still wrestle with that idea myself. Like, do you trick this way or do you trick that way? I don't know how far you want to get into that discussion, but the way I see it now is, and another phrase I've coined online is never pay to get to know a stranger. Because at a certain point in my life, I was like, I'm not paying to even go on dates like that. I'm going on air dates. It's going to be a gym date. It's going to be a whatever. Now, I'm far removed from that whole life of, chasing and all that. I got a solid woman on my team, and I don't need to worry about no goofy chicks. So all this dating market stuff is wild. The idea of who's paying for what or dating or whatever, I'm far beyond all that. But just as a thought experiment, yeah, some of the guys are definitely paying for it. And then my core stance is I can't justify tricking and paying for it because I've been one of them. I got to be honest with you, JT. My whole life, for the most part, my career with women, I've been one of those get it for the free kind of guys for the most part. I just got to be honest. So to wrap my mind around it that way, it's like, but the way it is now, so, I'm taking 2 decades ago up to now, whatever, as my time in the streets tapered off. Times are hard now. Is it more cost effective and time efficient for a guy to just pay for it now versus jumping through the hoops on a date and then paying to get to know a stranger, and she might just be trying to get a foodie call? And I don't know, fam. Like, when I'm talking to young guys now, I'm like, fam, I don't even know what to tell you. You might, I hate to say it, but you might be better off just go ahead and just cashing out and just keeping it moving, because you don't have time. You ain't got time. If you like me, you don't have time in the day to be sitting on these funky dates and dealing with these goofy chicks and blah, blah, blah. This chick might just be trying to get you to pay for some food. She might want you to buy some food for a kid to take, bring a friend. I'm hearing all kind of crazy stories from some of my young homies that's still out in the dating market and dating apps. I've sat with some of my young homies and showed me dating apps, and I was just like, geez, this is what it is. But yeah, just to address that whole the paying for it part. So I got some insights. I can go in depth on that point too, but go ahead.
Right, but also before we change the subject, so it's safe to say, right, in social media, right, they tricking, right, giving out cash apps, Venmo, PayPal,
yes,
cash app,
yes,
right.
Yeah,
that's part of tricking, right?
I think I see where you're going. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm just saying. Hey, I see your D picture or P picture. Got 500. I was in a chat, and this is real talk. This is when we had Google Hangouts. And in Google Hangouts, there's a back chat to the back chat to the back chat to the back chat to the back chat. Mm-hmm. And I'm not gonna say the channel. Channel's still circling around here. It's not in the sector, but in a different sector. She said, yeah, you want this 500. Said, watch this, y'all. Within a minute, got 500. They said, I'm gonna show y'all through the back chat. They go there, like I said, in Google Hangouts, as you know, brother, they had different spaces.
Yeah, I know exactly.
You can actually go while you have on a live.
Yeah. No, let me clarify something with the story. You're saying right. This person, the woman said, if you want to see a picture or something, it's gonna be 500. Is that, did I hear that right?
Yes. Super chat.
Because that's not even like you're pulling up in person,
No.
actually in person. It's
Not
a picture, some kind of
a
photo
picture.
for five. See, that's kind of what I'm talking about. That's why the dating
Yeah.
scene is crazy, bro. So I knew exactly where you was going with that. Because if people go super chat and do this, that, and the third, it's not too far out that they're gonna pay for uh some booty
Yes,
pics or
D-Hall,
some.
yes.
I mean, that's the thing. Like somebody in the chat said, "How do you get it for free?" And I'm like, "Yeah, a picture, 500 for a picture." And this is the thing I try to wrap my mind around. In an abstract way, I understand, and I say this on my channel all the time. The vast majority of people are lost, are stupid. I used a few different words, but just really clueless and oblivious about the true state of the world and are just not functioning properly. And I talk about this from literally from a health perspective and how that impacts people's psychology. I talk about it from an advertising marketing perspective. People have been literally dumbed down, right? So the thought that there's people out here that, and I know some guys like this who make a lot of money, but they're not the most charismatic, not the most suave guys, no kind of mouthpiece, no kind of whatever, no kind of just know how to interact with women, period. Don't even bother to put themselves in positions where they could meet women and just talk, blah, blah, blah. But they got dough. And maybe they're not the best looking, maybe they're out of shape, put out all together, but I got this money. From their perspective, super chatting, whatever, or yeah, I'll send you 500 for a picture, like fam. And these are the same kind of guys that's like, I hear these stories. The
Yeah.
woman's like, yeah, you got to take me to dinner. I'm gonna bring my friend, or just off rip. Soon as I'm getting to know you, before you ever even get to really pull up and smash or whatever, dudes are already out paying bills, doing this kind of stuff. And in my mind, I know it to be true because I know the formula. I say 85 to 90% of people are so lost. So this includes men, this includes guys that are got money, but just are missing everything else. So I understand it in an abstract way. And I say it because it's not me, right? I can't really put myself in a situation where I'm going to pay 500 for a picture of whatever for
Yeah.
some stranger. Like
Yeah.
it's inconceivable. So yeah, no, to hear those stories, man, is wild, right? Because I know it's true. And it's even crazier than that story, right? Like if we really think about where we're
It's
at in the
PG
world.
I'm giving y'all. Brother A1, you know what I'm talking about. It's worse than that.
Yeah.
I'm just telling y'all the PG part.
Oh, okay. So even within that story, I'm just saying in general, I know out here in these streets, the whole tricking thing and the
Yeah.
whole basically it's the discussion about dudes simping, giving women unwarranted attention and money and everything else that flows through that. Because some guys are so down bad when it comes to women, but they do have a certain level of resource ability, aka you got the money, but you got no other kind of attributes. So you're just gonna trick it off and just give the women what they want and bend over backwards. And when you do that in a social media age where everybody got cell phones and everybody wants to show their best, whatever, and makeup over, you see the makeup
Mm-hmm.
stuff women are doing, it's just wild, right? But I still put the onus on the men. Like, fam, you gotta step your game up. You gotta do better. You gotta be in a situation where you never think to simp, because essentially what you're doing is saying her attention, her access to sex with her is more valuable than your own time, your labor, your efforts. So where you're just ready to do all these things and give her all this praise and all this attention to the point where you're like devaluing yourself. And I'm not saying I'm better than anybody, but if I'm going to interact with a woman, I'm genuinely interested in her, she's genuinely interested in me, then it's like, I'm not jumping through hoops to get with you. Like, what are we talking about here?
But you know, before I'm gonna ask you about your what you do now, you know what gets to me though with what's so funny, right? It's funny, but it's not so funny. And I'm talking about the simps. You still live with your parents, though.
Okay, so now we're on a whole different level, but yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
You still live with your parents. So how could you say anything? And plus have a good job, right? And so, what's up, brother Todd? How you doing, man? Thank you, thank you. Yeah, that's my guy right there. That's my guy. And Gemini like me. But that's what I'm saying. I've been in the space at yourself for a long time, bro. I be like this, like how you can talk, how you can tell me for how you call me and say, listen, I could put my key in the door, I could open the door, okay? Any bills that happen, I gotta pay it, okay? I run this shit right here, okay? Make sure that I'm comfortable wherever I do. I go to the community, do whatever I can to help out and everything. Do what I can over here. But see, you use a simple hoe. See, we gotta call this out. The world praise these simple hoes, and they've been in prominent positions, and they listen to their narrative that knowing ain't going nowhere. Like brothers, real brothers like me and you, Todd, and a few others, trying to make it stink. But we cannot go nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. Because we know what it takes to be a real man. And people think masculinity that deals with, oh, you deal with wearing clothes, and no, masculinity is to show up as a man. Masculinity deals with character, deal with morals, deal with that. That's where it starts at.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't take money or puss.
Yeah.
And so we had to get back to those traits, man, of masculinity. And how many of us is not saying you know what I'm saying, but how many of us is willing to look in the mirror? Do we have these traits?
Okay, so now you're getting into the self-accountability part, but go ahead.
And so
go ahead.
I because I had to do it myself.
Yeah.
I'm not a piece of me. I'm a man. See, at the end of the day, I operate as a man. God made me as a man. I gotta show up as a man. On as a man. My masculinity had to match with the morals and values that is in me first. In me. And then when you have self-security within yourself, that's when people say, oh, okay. And you don't have to have money for that. And that's what people like me, you, Todd, D-Hawk, but they want to make us to the stink because see, we're willing to eat grown-up food. They want Gerber food. They still want people to feed them.
That Gerber.
I ain't want beef. I already been fed by my parents. I already been fed by the elders. All right? I already been fed by older people in our community. Now it's up to us to stand on our own food, to eat our own food of righteousness, eat our own food, like you said, of fitness and all that. To take that in, to self-generate of ourselves. And self-generate ourselves sometimes hurt because that's part of growth. So you got to go through hurt to be still in growth.
Yes.
Straight that. But they don't know what I'm talking about.
You preaching, man. Like, it's just because when you stand on it like that and come from that position of like manhood, masculinity, and I really try to anchor that in for a lot of these guys, because to my own shock and amazement, years operating in these online spaces, I've had young guys. I'm about to be 47 next week. I've talked to guys who are 15 years younger than me, 20 years younger than me. More it's like, fam, I could be your dad. And they're talking to me about stuff. Guys who've hit me up for like chats and consultations online. And then it veers off into discussions where it's always about the women. And I get it. Guys in their 20s, they're trying to get their action in. Then that's on their minds a lot. Their testosterone is pumping. They going crazy, right? So having these discussions with guys and getting into discussions with guys, literally I've never met in person, but they've seen me talk or, operating on YouTube or whatever. asking me questions that are high level questions to the point where it's like, damn, yo, dad didn't tell you this, your OGs that you know, your uncles, your older brothers didn't ask you this stuff. So I say it to the way, to the point where the phrase I would always say, we're in the era of babies who had babies who had babies, generational arrested development. So you talked about masculinity and you standing on that, bro. It's so to the point where we're so far removed from having a standard of what that even means, right? For there to be like that coming of age, that milestones where you understand, like, you as a man, you have to move with a certain level of resource ability. You have to have certain skills that make you of value to the world, to other men, to have strong networks. We're so far beyond that. And to your point, guys want to eat the Gerber food. They want to lower the bar. They want to make guys who actually do have those masculine standards.
I ain't lowering no bar, man. Oh.
You said they're trying to make guys like that extinct. And you're right. Like, they don't want to have it, because if you let guys run rampant who are constantly working and raising the bar, for a lot of the guys, vast majority, remember I said 80-90% of guys, people in general, are like really distorted and deranged about how reality works. So that's 10% of men, 80% of men, 80% of all black men in my abstract theory. So when I look at it that way, none of this is surprising, but it is mind blowing because it's so alien to how I move, to how we move. Because it's like, we're trying to rock with this masculine standard. It ultimately isn't based on money. It's based on resource ability, how you acquire knowledge, how you leverage that knowledge, right? How you acquire information, how you leverage that knowledge and turn it into wisdom. How are you doing that? And how are you able to leverage that to the world in a repeatable way to where you have successes and life gets easier versus you're struggling and you're adding value to other people? That's my thought process on it. And I see the more I think that way, that's becoming more and more rare, which is exactly why, relative to, like, you know, Black YouTube, Black Manosphere, guys was like, we don't want no parts of that. A lot of guys, that's not entertaining to talk like that. And I'm like, I thought this was men's development kind of stuff. They're like, no, go. There's other algorithms you could go to for that. Don't come to a space that's calls itself the Manosphere and talk about real personal development for men. I'm like, wait, what? I'm confused. I'm in the wrong place. Oh, I'm in the wrong place. Okay, so I'm gonna just make fun of y'all then, because now I see.
Yeah, right. Oh. Now it's time to clown. So before I'm gonna ask you what you do now. Before I gotta ask this though, too, right? Is it safe to say? I could be corrected. Please, if I'm wrong, please correct the AM1. I don't mind be corrected right way. So that actually means, what's the sense to talk about patriarchy then, right? Is it safe to? Is it safe to? What's the sense to talk about patriarchy if we deal with son husbands, simps? It's just me now. I mean, what's the talk about patriarchy? But you fail to understand the basic principles of masculinity. But you talk about patriarchy and women. I mean, listen, I got some spirit water. I'm ready to make me some drink so I can drink on this. I'm just saying that. Could somebody explain? Beyond, yeah, Todd. You know what I'm talking about. Somebody got to explain that he married, happily married. Do you know what it looks like? If you don't know your own masculinity, what makes you think you know what really patriarchy really look like?
Yes. So it's so far off the rails. You're right. No, yeah.
I mean, like, really?
Okay, so I see where you're going with that, and yes, I'll double down on that in a sense of, yeah, I've heard this kind of stuff in real life and online for years now, and me being the kind of work I do, everything about myself, I'm just kind of like a nerd in the sense of my mind works in like logic puzzles. Like, I'm damn near probably on a spectrum or something. Like, I could sit and just nerd out on something. I got to figure this out. I got to make it make sense. So when I hear guys talk about whatever the issue is with anything but the women issue, we want We want the women to submit. We want to be leaders, but it's like nothing, a whole lot about what you're talking about isn't really leadership traits. So it's like, wait, what do you mean? But then again, it's so far off the rails and so distorted that they don't even realize what that means in the first place. So it's like you're trying to explain to them, like trying to explain to a two-dimensional being what three dimensions looks like. They can't, trying to explain to a blind person who's never had sight what the color blue looks like. They can't comprehend it, right?
Yeah.
They can't even imagine what do you mean? Well, masculinity is really based on, and I broke it down. I thought about writing like a course or like a booklet on this, but as silly as it sounds, the stuff I've been saying in the Manosphere of Black YouTube for years. Like, wait a minute. Well, when you talk about masculinity, it has to be about how a man grows and understands how to deal with nature, right? Because the biggest threat to any man, you got to think about threats. You got to think about being strong. The biggest threat to any man is other men, another man, groups of men, or nature in the form of weather or animals or whatever. And you got to be strong enough to sort that out before you ever even get to the whole women thing and getting the women to submit to you. Because on a true biological level, women actually know this inherently when all things being equal and there's not too much distortions, like, because, you know, we're in a high-tech society and everything's all distorted. But when you really take it back, what made a man is how do you deal with nature from a defense perspective against other men, nature, the weather, and then what value do you bring? Like, do you know how to hunt? Do you know how to forage? Do you know how to build those things? Like literally physically build a shelter, right? So you got to know those kind of things. Again, have skills. Now we bring that to the, you know, the future. You got to have some kind of skill that makes you have value. There has to be a position of self-defense. With self-defense is like military strategy. So you got to have observation, intelligence gathering, all of that. And then you got to be able to take that and act on it accordingly. This is all true masculinity stuff that I'm describing that's just universal, but we're so far off the rails that most guys, if I said that to a room of young guys, for the most part, they'd be like, what you talking about? We just trying to turn up and get lit.
I mean, self-sufficient is very important. Even like I live by myself. I gotta make sure my house is clean. I gotta make sure I gotta cook for myself. I gotta make sure I got a budget. That's part of the, yeah, that's an everyday life. That is true. But I'm talking about, we're gonna stick to men. That's part of masculinity. Being self-sufficient.
Yes. Before you say, now I want I want her, because obviously nature, heterosexual man, you're gonna want the woman. Cool. Fair enough. But I think you want to have certain things established first before putting the cart before the horse and then banging your head against the wall like, why can't I find the right one? It's like, fam. And I'm not even saying I had this all perfected and I'm always working on it now. I'm always trying to make myself better, right? But the average guy out here talking about, yeah, I'm trying to be the patriarch of a family, or I'm trying to start a family, or leadership, or I want the woman to submit. All the stuff I've been hearing guys say for years. And it's like, fam, yeah, you're out of shape. You still live with your parents, or some dusty, raggedy job that you don't even love, and no kind of 5-year, 10-year trajectory. So why does it make sense that this woman is going to rock with you? Oh, because you want to have a certain level of swag, or like, man, don't get me started. Like young black men, like let's not have the skills. Let's just look like what we think masculinity looks like. And you understand this, being a OG New York guy, the hip hop stuff and the trajectory with that. And, you know, me being a media guy, I'm big on, because I was really big on hip hop growing up. And then now going into this whole media understanding. So from a social engineering perspective, they use hip hop to basically say, we're going to take the most negative, degenerate street energy and elevate that and try to glamorize that and use that to shape how black men see themselves and how black women see black men and how the whole world sees black people, because we're able to take anything from the most grimy, ridiculous-ish and make it look dope, make it sound dope, take the most pain from the blues and all that, right? And just make it be so soulful and geez, right? But with hip hop, it was so interesting because, you know, coming from the 70s into the 80s and it just taking off even more in the 90s, golden era hip hop, like, man, Fast forward, we get the Big Willie era, and I'm tying this all together with the whole thing of masculinity and why it's so lost, because just from the 90s to now, bro, it's so off the rails that the average young black man sees himself through the lens of generations of distorted images that were served up by people who were essentially operating as social engineers. You're not really a strong black man unless you look like some kind of street guy, and whatever that means. But it's like that whole street thing was essentially born from lack or poverty, but there's some kind of strength and character in that. It's not the ideal situation. I've grown up around hood ass ninjas my whole life. And the real ones would say, bro, you got artistic skill, you got all this. Don't come get down with us. Don't do what we're doing. The real one said, don't come, you don't want this. And I saw it. And when I got homies sitting on life sentences right now that was just trying to be super thugs, that been already locked up for a couple of decades now. I got homies that are one strike away from being out of here because they wanted to go be super thug guys. So I say that to say, guys don't want to really stand on something for the most part. And this goes to guys my age and older. They're taking cues from whatever's out in the culture, but the culture has been manipulated mostly through hip hop and mostly through people who don't look like us. And I hate that phrase, but that aren't our people, to say this is the bar for what makes you a man, what makes you sexy and attractive to the women. And it's like, if I'm not really a street dude, but I want to look like a street dude. I ain't never been in nobody's hood, nobody's trap, but I want to talk about trapping and I want to do all this and that and the third. Even though I grew up in the suburbs and I work in tech and make 200,000 a year, but I want to be some kind of super thug guy. So let me look like how these guys look. And that's their idea of masculinity. And then they wonder why the women aren't quite vibing with them. And I'm standing back looking at this like, man, I see exactly what they did. And you could talk to some people about it and they refuse to see it. And there's, like I said, there's guys my age and older who are still taking their cues from even younger guys. The trends, the new trend. Oh, well, the new trend is cut your hair into some kind of mohawk. The new trend is, oh, get the dangly earrings now because it's retro and trendy. Oh, we're going back to the 90s.
Wait, earrings, wait, have earrings, wear both.
I'm just saying, like, so from a masculinity standpoint, when you have somebody, and it's pretty high level stuff, so let me know if this is boring you, but
no, it's not boring, because I want to talk about it a little bit too before I ask a question.
Yeah, no, I study social because this is part of my job. Because I'm a videographer, right? I'm a filmmaker.
Right.
This is what I do. So me being me, how do I get really good at telling stories and understanding how to impact people and pull these strings on people's thoughts and their emotions? How do you craft a story? So I went deeper and said, oh, well, filmmaking, storytelling, then let's go to the propaganda, marketing, social engineering element of it. That's deep. Like Edward Bernays kind of stuff. Look up that guy and they'll talk about the people really manipulating whole groups of people into buying in on a specific worldview. That's what's going on. So that's what happened with the hip hop thing. And as far as Black culture, along with all the other assaults that were legitimately done from like a oppressive structure, the hip hop thing was one of the biggest destructive weapons in the sense that they used it to skew the imagery and put it to a situation where we're now generations deep into Black folks that have no clue of what real success means, or Black men who have no real clue of what masculinity means.
And also, before I ask this question too, I want to put this in too. Everybody thought this really happened in the 80s, 70s, 80s. A little bit it's really happened in the 90s, because instead of us be on the boardrooms, it was people was some look like us, but they were scared. I'm telling you, me be around hip hop. Hip hop came out when I was 7. So I knows what I'm talking about. Instead of evolution going forward, it went backwards. Now, there's a lot of independence came out of that. True, yes. It was good music, yes. But I'm talking about in the boardrooms. They the one was making decisions.
Yes.
That our culture was going backwards.
Yes.
And the question I'm going to ask for you in the field, that you see things continually go, our culture is going backwards.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you can almost put it on a timeline. I had this discussion with my guy Super Sly. Shout out to Super Sly. uh, semi-heated discussions in the sense of, fam, we can run down the whole timeline for the most part, year by year or 5 year gap by 5 year gap, starting from the 80s, 80, 85, 85 to 90, 90 to 95, and you'll see, look at the type of music that was coming out within the hip hop sphere, the wide availability of different kind of styles within the genres, right? The different topics, what people was talking about, East Coast, West Coast, gangster, super conscious, blah, blah, blah. There was way more of that. And as time went on since the 90s, it tapered off to being lesser and lesser of that, or anything that even had more of a neutral street edge or just lyricism edge or more soulful edge, whatever, versus the Big Willie popping bottles, super stunt floss. The rap videos are actually commercials for European brands. We see more and more of that. Go get money and live beyond your means. Fast forward to now, it went into the trap music thing, where it's now we got to take the trap, literally trap music. Now we're taking a criminality element, glamorizing it even more, doing it on these kind of beats with a certain signature, with a certain flow pattern. We're going to take this subgenre and elevate that, and then make that be the standard. Now everybody looks the same, sounds the same, raps the same. Then now we're going to take it even more criminal and take it to the drill thing, where they're literally rapping about killing each other and actually going and doing it. So we went full circle back from NWA and some of the other guys, even some of the New York guys in the 80s were talking about street-ish. But now we took it to a whole other level since, let's just say, 90, whatever. NWA, late 80s, 90s, NWA going crazy with it, because that was a big turning point in hip hop, right? Fast forward to 2020 to 2025, it's drill music. It's not even that much about selling packs and birds and blah, blah, blah. It's we gonna go actually pull up on the ops, kill them, and then write a rap about it, and we smoking on a pack of the ops. So yeah, as you see, I got a quick timeline and I can break it all down. Yes, it's gone way, way backwards. Yes.
Yeah, I thought, and also too, go more on your point though too. Now you got double worship now.
Oh yeah, they ushered that into Lil Uzi Vert and some of these other fools. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that now I'm talking about the spirituality of our culture that is messed up. But another question I want to ask you though, too, besides, explain how you got into what you're doing, the work that you're doing. What was the love for it?
Yeah, that's an interesting story, man. So I mean, my whole life I've been inclined to draw. So draw, art, illustration. I had an
Mm-hmm.
uncle that was a really dope, or he's still a dope painter. Uh, my older brother was dope with the drawing. So I was always one of the, art inclined in school. And then because of my older brother and an older cousin, they really put me up on a lot of hip hop stuff in the 80s. So literally growing up, um, in the 80s, growing into hip hop, and from East Coast to West Coast, from Too Short, Run DMC, all the old school stuff, Fat Boys, Roxanne, all the stuff, UTFO, just run Beastie Boys, all that. And we would listen to these tapes. There's a place in Oakland, so you got that Oakland picture, place called Durant Square. That's on. It used to be way down in deep East Oakland, right next to San Leandro. Anybody from Oakland hearing this later in the chat will know. There's a place called Durant Square, and you would go there. It's like a mall. It's like an indoor mall. Of everything. And me at a young age, I was able to just go in there and buy. You could buy the cassettes with the ink that'll rub off, because it was making bootlegs. So I was really exposed to hip hop at an early age, and I was also really artistically inclined as far as visual art, illustration. So I was drawing all kind of stuff, then got my hands on Marvel comic book stuff, anime stuff. I was drawing all kind of stuff, hip hop, graffiti characters, messing around with that for years and years and years. And I also had the music, love for rap and hip hop, growing up, soul music, all that, the OG family, blues, all that stuff, Bobby Blue Bland, all the stuff, everything, Prince, MJ, of course. So my uncle, who's the painter, he's also a singer. His name is Kirby Coleman. He did some pretty cool stuff, had some hit stuff in the 80s.
Really?
So I grew up around music. He used to take us to the shows. We'd be backstage. My mom used to take us to, the old school Henry J. Kaiser Convention Center concerts. Run DMC, Fat Boys, LL Cool J came through. Too Short opened up. we rocked with all of that. So I was really immersed in hip hop and art growing up. And then fast forward to late 90s, started getting into kind of making my own little streetwear stuff. So started tying it all together, went to a print shop to try to get a t-shirt made. And the guy was like, here's Photoshop and here's this Illustrator program. So you can do your own color separation for t-shirt printing. So this is late 90s. So I started messing with these programs and then tying that into drawing. So then now I'm basically a graphic designer. So this is now early 2000s. I'm drawing tattoos for the homies, graphic design. Then we get Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, the whole evolution of that. And mind you, at that point, I kind of jumped the gun on it, but early 90s, 93, 94, one of my homies that I used to walk to school with was like, have you ever tried writing and rapping? I was like, nah, I'm not interested in rapping. He was like, you should try it. Wrote a rap, fell in love with it, started writing raps. Then 94, 95, 96, started making beats. So I was writing raps, making beats because I was already influenced with the music. I already had the art illustration thing in the bag. Then I started doing streetwear stuff, late 90s. Fast forward, mid 2000s, I start throwing events because I was rapping and I met all these people in the Bay who were doing shows. So I'm rapping, but then I started doing flyers for all these different people, right? And one of the guys I was doing shows with, he said, you know what? We got this spot booked where we do shows every week. I said, you know what? Let me promote one of these events for one of the weeks. So he let me curate my whole own event, build a flyer for it. So that was my first step into event promotion, right? So you see the evolution. So I took the art thing, took the music thing, started rapping, started making beats, was doing my little Ricky Dink shows, started producing events. And then I still had the streetwear like mentality to build a brand all going. So from late, early 2000, so 2007, 8, 9, 10, all the way into 14, I'm throwing events. I'm getting all into the fashion kind of world, all this different stuff. Then in 2014, I threw this event series in downtown Oakland and then went on to promote tons of events in 2014 going into 2015. And that's when everything changed towards like, I really can build something out of this. And the main thing I took from it all was, I'm not trying to make music. I'm not even really trying to throw events. What I really want to do is capture the events and do the whole brand. So that's when I realized where the real magic is the video capture. And because I was already into illustration and graphic design, I got into motion graphic design. So that's what AM1 Creates is, right? Videography, motion graphic design. And I just, fast sped run the timeline. But from 2015 to now, 10 years doing this stuff full-time freelance. So videography, filmmaking, recap videos, explainer videos, fully animated explainer video kind of stuff, corporate stuff for colleges, for YouTubers, all of that.
You know what? Before I want you to ask questions about me, but before you do, I have ideas throughout the years. I used to hear a song, right? Like an old school song, right? And I used to have a picture in my mind, right? How I want to sculpture it in my mind. For years, I was like, it was a song by the legendary MFSB, that's the Sounds of Philadelphia, named Bittersweet, right? And I listened to Bittersweet, right? This is when I was very young. When I was hearing Bittersweet, I'm talking about what I get from it. There are different variations of Bittersweet that people, thousands of variations. But I'm talking about variation I get from it, right? It was the black man got arrested for nothing. He did time for nothing, right? Then when I was hearing like the horns and the violins, he came home with the family. Family picked him up with the kids. Got a job and everything. So enjoy the family, the community welcoming back. Got the money compensation for the city and all that, right? And so while the song was like really picking up momentum, right? the horns, the guitars, and all like that. And then towards the end, that the father had problems with the corrupted people, that looks like. And towards the end, he said, look, he was his last year in high school, the oldest son. He said, whatever I do, I'm not going to be there when you graduate out of college. I want you to go graduate college and be better for it. And he was fighting off the people that corrupt them. And towards the end, the son went to school, straight A student, got his degree. And when toward the end, when it had this certain, it had this certain gloomy sound. And you see the son stand over his father, burial, hug the tombstone. I got that. And so when you was talking about that and everything, I want to bring that up. It reminds that. It's like certain songs, like I could picture it if I just had the technique part. You know what I'm saying? I could actually bring it out. You know, I always wanted that, and I appreciate what you're saying about that and everything. You want to ask a question about me? You want?
Yeah, no, because I was going to ask you about that too, because I know you wanted to be a chop up, but I was curious about, and we kind of touched on this before, but obviously you being from Brooklyn, and at your age, you had a better perspective on the rise of hip hop and just the trajectory of music in general. So I was just curious about from your perspective, what was it like growing up seeing the evolution of hip hop, and what do you think about the state of hip hop as it relates to the so-called Black community, right? Well, what do you think about that? Do you think it's gone backwards or forwards? Just I want to hear your take on that, because you have a better perspective, a better view on it, because you got some years on me.
Because that's a good question, but I'm doing break it down much as I can, because that's like a series.
No, for sure. It is a big question.
That's a series.
You give me the speed run version. And then we'll talk about it again later, because I love hearing.
Right, exactly. We're gonna talk about that. My perspective, I see the evolution of it, and I see like Puerto Ricans and different people of West Indian descent trying to say they created. Nah, it came from us, African American. So it was like, do they play a vital part? Yes, but they did not create hip hop. And so I see the evolution of they play James Brown, they sample James Brown records, certain funk records, to talk about the re-evolution of Black nationalists that I appreciate about Curtis Mayfield. Curtis Mayfield, like he loves hip. The late great Curtis Mayfield, I'm sorry, when he was talking about in the late 80s and talking about that he liked hip hop, what it is because they reading books about scholars. And they rapping about it. They lived it and stuff like that. I still believe that in the 90s, they said that was the best time of hip hop. Yeah, I can say that, but also also of entrepreneurship. We took way backwards. We not in the boardrooms that we should. And the ones that laid the foundation, we forgot about them. Because we so much now with like independence. We forgot about the Rockims and the KRS and the other ones that later, even the ones ain't getting like too short enough in the 80s. We don't talk about them that laid the foundation of hip hop. And so that's what I didn't like about it. We was not in the boardrooms. We was not in the boardrooms. Everybody else in the boardroom except us. I mean, did they give us a balloon plan? Yeah, but that wasn't enough. And you see, the East Coast and the West Coast was really, really forming, and they caused a divide.
Right.
And then you got these magazines. They said it was black owned. It was not black owned. We was leasing power. And what I mean seeing that now in the 90s, now I'm talking about, yo, this is how I got married in 95. That was like the time of hip hop really that's when the East Coast, West Coast was hot. The West Coast, you cannot come on the East Coast, not just New York. You can't come to the East Coast, period. Just like you from the East Coast, you can't come to the West Coast, period. It's not just LA, not New York. People was getting snatched up, getting shot down, and so and then also you got quite a few. Then you got the white boys and the Chinese boys and the Japanese boys, and all of them was in the boardroom like this and yeah. And they take their money and feed their kids in their community while they suffering. Then you got some of us who was down with the plan too, was like this. But see, they was not sitting in the boardrooms. Even if they was, they had nothing to say. And that part I didn't like about. I ain't like it. Now we going to 2000, you know, all the stuff has happened with Jay-Z and you know, others and then like that. And you know, there people actually say, who you think is the best rapper? You know, Jay-Z or not? I pick Nas all day because I'm all about culture. Jay-Z about the money and stuff, but he from Brooklyn, so I don't care if he from Brooklyn. He from Brooklyn like I'm from Brooklyn, so what? Nas appealed to me because he talks about culture. A lot of people know Nas was a drug dealer, and he picked himself up to understand the knowledge. His late father was a jazz player. So understand jazz, culture, hip-hop, all in one. And that's what Nas understand of his place, that he got to help uplift hip-hop through his late father, because he was a jazz player. Damn good black jazz player too. He put out some good music. And so we got away from culture. We got away from that. I'm talking about the real essence of culture. I'm not just throwing words out. You know what I'm saying, but you know what I'm talking about. We don't. I'm not throwing. We ain't throwing that around. So for me, it's all about culture. Well, if our people, because we already shown around the world already, wherever we created, we could do it. But the sad thing about it, do we have entrepreneurship? Do we have ownership of that? No, we don't. We still leasing wealth. And that's why I'm angry and agitated about that. Right, I don't like that. Why we still got lease capital? We create. We created. Well, but at the same time, you got some people out here, even political. Oh yeah, we do this and that. And everything. But I mean, yeah, you doing like that. But yeah, you doing it. But who's paying for it? So is your name on this?
Right.
If you don't have your name on it, like you show your shirt AM1, you stand on this shit. That's your fucking brand.
There it is. We
don't show up no brand. You go to corp, you know what I'm talking about. You've been in corporate America for a long time too. Ain't that many of us had really like 90-50% of generation wealth?
Not even close.
Not even right. Not I'm just being generous, but right. Sure. Go more important. Not even close. So when I'm saying like this, and what I mean, like I see other people dressing like suits and women too dressing. I'm saying like this. You can have Fortune 500 business all you want. I'm saying, do you own it? Do you have capital? I'm not talking about money and finance. You know what I'm saying, brother. I'm talking about cap. Do you have capital to pass it down to generations? Anybody can pass money down. I'm talking about capital. Do we have capital to pass it down to our family? So we at least have a shot to build our own schools, to have our own. Just as the Black Wall Street have it, even certain parts of the United States have. We have examples, but you know, that's the short part.
Yeah, no, I mean, all facts. Like you obviously had a good view on it, a proper, honest view on it, right? Because there's a lot of people who try to tap dance around it and act like that's not objectively the trajectory of what happened. And the truth of the matter is, yes, Black folks created so much great art and so many entertaining things through sports and all this stuff, or not maybe not created the sports, but excelled in it. But as far as the music, the culture stuff, those kind of elements, and when we put our flavor on anything, it can just go so crazy. But yeah, who's ultimately owning the rights, the IP? And when we talk about that and Black excellence in this, that, and the third, I kind of cringe and feel a kind of way about that, because I'm like, nah, it ain't. I'm not about feel goodery. You know what I mean? Like
No, I'm not feel good either. No.
I'm more inclined to look at what really something is, even if it's more of a dark perspective, because I'm really solutions oriented, and I don't think you're going to arrive at real solutions if you try to sugarcoat something and try to act like it's all hearts and flowers. So I'm like, no, let me see exactly how shady and janky it is, so we can really fix it, versus trying to tap dance around it. Yeah.
And go more on your point, bro. Let's be honest here. Every genre of music we created, there is no ifs and buts about it. Do we really have ownership of it? No, we don't.
No.
We
Rock,
lease
jazz,
it.
blues, hip hop, funk, all the
We don't
soul,
have
all that.
no ownership.
Yeah.
They created what we do, and they reap the benefits of it.
Yeah, they built the infrastructure around it and used money and offered it to people who were very talented, who either didn't know what they were doing, or who just said, "Ooh, let me take this easy, quick money." Yeah, there's so much I can get into with that. Shout out to Alonzo Hall in the building.
Shout out to you, brother Alonzo. Thanks for coming. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
it's a lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
I already knew, talking to you earlier, I was going to kind of ask you about your perspective on that, because whenever I talk to New York guys, especially my age and older, I'm always interested in people's take on kind of the trajectory of hip hop. And I've talked to guys older than myself who try to say, nah, hip hop is, fine, and the whole
No, it's
way it
not.
spawned was organically. That's just what the people wanted, and that was the sound. That's what people like. And it's like, I hope you truly don't believe that. Or I think about, like I said, I'm kind of a nerd about looking at stuff, and I really can't not see things through the lens of social engineering and like a marketing kind of propaganda thing, like how they took something so amazing, and just by some odd coincidence, it's the most degenerate subcategories of it that got elevated and weaponized against the people who created. But no, that's just what the people wanted. It's like, man, if you don't get out of my face with that foolishness.
They don't know what they're talking about. And let me explain something. I'm gonna tell you how hip hop is sad. You remember, if you probably heard last week, there is a super group coming out.
Oh, super group. Oh,
Yeah,
I think I did. Go ahead. I think I did hear about
right?
that.
Now it's sad. All of them is over 50, right? Understand what I'm saying? I'm 59. So I can say this. I'm happy they out, right? But they'll make it seem that they didn't do nothing. I mean,
Wait, what do you mean by that? Because who's going to be in the group? I glanced at something
it's
else.
Big Daddy. I believe it's Big Daddy Kane,
Oh, really?
Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Rakim, KRS-One. No, I mean KRS-One, Big Daddy Kane, Fuji Rap, and Rakim.
Oh, I didn't even hear about that. Okay, that's
Yeah, it's
crazy.
supposed to be. It's supposed to be. It was a super group. It's supposed to be a super group. But my thing was like, I wish I could have seen him 30 years ago.
Yeah, I
These
mean,
are the ones, man, has helped change hip hop. Okay,
oh, for sure. I mean, those guys that you just listed there, that's 80s into the 90s. So that's
right?
like
They
those are,
changed that shit.
yeah,
Everybody talk about the '90s and stuff. They the one help prepare the '90s.
right. Yeah, for
And
sure.
so I'm saying I'm happy they are, but I'm just saying I'm saying but I'm saying that I'm saying why that didn't help them to come out 30 years ago. Maybe some of this stuff has happened. Maybe I'm not saying it ain't gonna never happen, but maybe we have like some deal with consciousness and deal with morals and stuff. You know?
Well, I think within, I would say, if we say 30 years, let's just say 25 years, right? Since we're in 25, I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure even between, when they drop projects, Karis One, Rakim, I know for sure dropped some later projects, but
Yeah.
that's kind of when the late 90s, the trajectory was already changing into sort of Biggie and then the East Coast, West Coast stuff, and then the Big Willie stuff with Diddy and whatnot, Bad Boy and all that. So it just kind of got lost in the sauce of these are just two hippity hoppity rap guys, and it's not the edgy, glamorous kind of stuff. So it just kind of got lost behind the scenes. So I see what you're saying though, and that is the problem. But they probably were willing to drop projects, but just realized that they're going to be fighting an uphill battle. Some of them did though, because I know
Yeah, they
Karis
did.
has been pretty active, like relatively the whole time. Rakim, he kind of tapered off at a certain point, but I don't know. There seems to be a resurgence right now. Raekwon just dropped something. Just had clips. I wasn't too big of a fan of them, but I did like that song "Grinding" when they first dropped.
Yeah,
Uh,
I like that, but I mean, some of this stuff is okay.
yeah,
But I
yeah,
like
yeah.
Grindr. It's
But
okay.
just the idea that Raekwon just dropped a few kind of hip hop, there's been kind of resurgence of the classic kind of hip hop vibe. So I guess that's probably what made somebody say, "Oh, look, let me go get these guys and assemble them and put them together," or they just saw it for themselves. But I'm not mad at it.
I'm not mad at it too.
But
I just
I
wish
see your
I
point
just
though.
wish they could have brought it out earlier. That's all.
Yeah. No, and it's an interesting thing because, like, what, a year or two ago, I went to this Wu Tang residency in Vegas, and man, I had a blast. I had a blast. Me and my lady was in there having a blast. So just and then what they had, Red Man pop out. It was dope. Yeah. So I'm all about the golden era stuff, all the hip hop stuff, but the golden era stuff is exactly that. Like, it was just so much going on from East Coast to West Coast. Like, before it started kind of going downhill when it was beefing, but from E40 stuff here, NWA stuff, Too Short,
Man,
Hieroglyphics,
E40, man.
Clothes of Mischief, SIBO. So just giving shout out to some of the West Coast greats. Scarface, Ghetto Boys. I rocked with all of that stuff, man. Like, when Wu
E40 was
Tang
one of
first
my
dropped,
favorites.
yeah, 40 was dope back in the day. To Click, like, this is all stuff I just grew up with. All the West Coast stuff. I listened to all of it, and it was funny. Around that time, I was like, when I started rapping, it was into rapping. Um, it was just such an interesting time, man. There's so many stories I can go into about that, but yeah. Fast
Let me ask
forwarding.
you.
Oh, go
Yeah,
ahead.
let me ask you this question. MC Hammer, you ever met MC Hammer?
No, I actually have not. I know some people that have met him, but no, I never met him myself. But yeah, Hammer's a legend, Bayer legend, and he got into like investments and whatnot because one of the guys who I met through some of my work projects is like a pretty high up guy in one of the biggest VC firms in the country, venture capital, and they
Okay.
brought Hammer in on some stuff. So these guys were going around to different entertainers and being like, take some of that money and invest with us. So it's pretty dope. But yeah, Hammer's a legend.
Yeah. Do you want to take questions?
Sure.
All right, anybody that want to put questions inside the chat, go ahead. And you guys, any question you want about me, if you want, please do.
Yeah, so I was curious, like, aside from YouTube, I know you be pretty active grinding on here, number one grinder. What else you got going on? Because you still in Brooklyn?
No, I've been in Virginia going on 13 years.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, what part of Virginia? Or I ain't trying to give too much of your
No,
info,
no,
but
so Newport News. They call Hampton Roads every day. It's like 7 cities. They call Hampton Roads area. I'm in Newport News.
How close is that? Because actually, a company I worked for years ago flew me out to Manassas, Virginia. It was relatively close
That's like
to like
further up. That's like
okay.
further up, further
That's
up.
what I was gonna say because I was able to drive while I was there on that work trip. I was able to drive to DC the first time I ever went to DC. It's pretty dope. But yeah, I was just curious to throw that out there because when you said Virginia, I was like, oh, we did go to Virginia one time.
Yeah, it's a nice place to visit, but the people. Don't talk about some. They just settled
They're just
instead of
what?
fight. Just settled. Like anything going, they just settle instead of fight. Like But you cannot beat the weather. In the winter. 35, 85, 90, 75.
In the winter, 75?
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it could be 65 degrees, like 6 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes it go up to 85, 90 degrees in the afternoon. That's why you find quite a few people in Virginia has sinuses.
Oh,
Sinuses,
because it's
right?
Newport News, Virginia. Now I'm curious where that is. I think I was thinking about the geography of that. Uh, yeah, no. Do you know uh, Victoria? She has a YouTube channel where she talks about like credit repair, credit, especially. Okay.
No.
She lived in LA and then she moved to Virginia.
Okay.
I was just curious about that. But yeah, so you're there. What do you got going on there? Like, so you said 13 years ago?
Well, basically, I'm just, well, I first left New York. I was living with my brother in Hampton. But then after that, I got my own place like 4 years, almost 4.5 months later. And I've just been grinding all these years. I'm out here. Sometimes I check on the community where I'm at, walk around, make sure everybody's fine, everything. Make sure the kids, have the identification. I haven't done it in a while because it's been dangerous, try to protect myself and stuff like that. I just been out here, so I've just been, I'm thinking, in the near future, they're making some moves, you know, keep on bettering myself, and also trying to do whatever I can, try to, expand my brand too. So, I want to get into have, some merch and stuff.
So you
So
saying
that's why,
that related to your YouTube channel?
yeah, my YouTube, because I'm looking at this that I don't think I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life. I want to take it to expand it to enterprise.
Mhm.
That's my goal. That's my goal to expand it. I'll probably go YouTube once in a while, do something like that, but I want to expand it and stuff. So it's going to take time because it was take finance and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to like just trying to produce something, trying to put something out there.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I was just looking at a map of where Newport News is on this Google
Mhm.
Map thing. So I see Richmond, Virginia, Washington. Oh, so Manassas is way up there. That's why it's closer to Washington,
Yeah.
or to Washington D.C. But I was just even looking at the geography of it. Wow. So there's this big, huge bay. I never really tripped off this. So Delaware, Virginia Beach right there. So there's this whole
Mhm.
like peninsula and then this big bay. And then you're inside of this whole other little river outlet on the other side of
Yep.
that bay. So yeah, so you get a real interesting microclimate there.
Yeah, see, you got on the other side of the bay, right? They said what they call I forgot what they call it. You got on this side you got Newport News, you got Hampton,
Yeah.
also you got Peasquet and also Williamsburg.
Yeah.
Then you go on the other side, you got Portsmouth, you got Virginia Beach,
Yeah.
and Chesapeake,
Norfolk, Virginia
Norfolk.
Beach, Chesapeake. Yeah, I've heard of a lot of these, but I just never, I guess, really focused on the geography right there. Wow, I bet it's beautiful too. Like I know Manassas, Virginia is pretty nice. Like just the way the houses are built and spaced out. I know that's way like a few hundred miles away from you, right? A couple hundred.
Yeah. Urban Nash is fine. He's Alonso said A1 is Noka or Soka.
North Cal. I'm from Oakland, so North
Okay.
California. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that's where I'm from. So, but I mean, and the politics is, yeah, sorry, and everything. Another question I want to ask you, um, what did you see in Oakland? What you born at? Do you think that it's going to go back into prominence, or they into
Oh no, absolutely not. Like the energy and vibe of Oakland, like in the '80s, is totally different now because, and this is really true of everything about this country. But if you want to talk about from a black perspective and kind of feeling some level of empowerment and familial community bond, that's pretty much done because again, just sort of like the culture, the community, the hip hop thing, and then just the economic issue. They kind of head faked everybody with the hip hop, the entertainment element to the point where everything, for the most part, black folks in the Bay rather live in some fantasy land of black joy, black excellence, more so than actually doing something for real. So it's kind of like that's why I say it's bittersweet, and it's a shame that people talk about the Panthers because it's like, nah, they actually was boots on the ground doing stuff. But that's the point though, because there was a discussion, old quote from like an FBI guy talking about we have to prevent the rise of another black messiah. So it's an interesting thing. They've done a very good job to make sure that black folks really got kind of head fake to make sure that nobody really comes up with anything. So through the big like education, the big colleges, because they got Cal State or University of California, Berkeley, so that big college there, San Francisco State, Stanford. It's a big education area, and those education areas are tied into the government, and they use a lot of the education stuff. The big city hubs in California are, for whatever it means, Democrat run. So there's certain leanings to where vote blue no matter who, vote on and be down for the way would say is things that would fight some racist conservative push, but in
Mhm.
fact they're actually head fakes to basically say, no, you poor people stay down and we'll pat your head and we'll baby you and uh, set you up for failure by offering you things where here, black people, you've been through so much. Just focus on social things, social justice, how you're being
Mhm.
treated, and then let's tie in your plight with other oppressed groups. So that might be some, group of people's sexual preference or whatever. Tie all that together, and we're all going to work together to fight some oppressive system, and it's all white males or whatever, whatever. Now, there's obviously some truth to that, but they've done a good job in California in some of the more liberal areas. And I say it that way because not that I don't really operate in the political sphere like that. So I can stand back and look at what both sides are doing and I see the evil on both sides. But I know
Mhm.
for sure growing up, I was always taught, well, conservative people, the Republicans, conservatives, they're all white and they're all racist and blah, blah, blah. And then when I looked more into it, I was like, well, wait a minute, that's a drastic oversimplification. And if we talk about what the Democrats that care so much about black people vote blue no matter who, well, black people have been regressing. So if that's the case, this is not a good look. We shouldn't keep voting for the same people, doing the same thing, getting the same results. So no, there won't be any progress or some type of golden era back to the heyday of when black folks were standing on something, figure it out. Everything is so delusional now. It's black joy. Drop a movie like Sinners. We got the guy from Oakland, Wakanda Forever. Cool. But when it comes to actually standing on something and fighting something, no, they will turn around and cower to the exact same government that they call white, racist, conservative, blah, blah, blah. So, no, all of that fire that was there from that time is all been extinguished. And now it's been swapped out for this illusion of black joy, just these frivolous things like Obama, hope and change. It's these kind of taglines we want to talk about Black joy, but then talk about Black wellness and talk about these certain things. But I realized when the rubber meets the road, Black people, when you pin, you know, and I'm talking about Oakland, people I've interacted with, people I've done business with, what really made it clear for me is, oh, well, wait a minute. When it comes to putting really making moves for our people up against entertainment, we don't want to do that. Meaning we're not ready to torch the negative parts of hip hop and ditch that and call it out because it's entertaining. But at the same time, we'll say there's a system of oppression that's holding us back. But we don't want to call that out though, because we like that music. We like that artist, right? So that lets you know these people really ain't standing on something, right? You think the original Panther members would have played that game? If you're gonna talk that, if you're gonna talk all that talk, but get caught slipping. Or we want to talk about racism that's been enacted upon Black folks and medical apartheid. If you ever read that book, Tuskegee experiments.
I read that book.
Like, you see what I mean? We know about these kind of government experimentation things, and the white man, the white devil was holding us back. But then the whole COVID situation. Okay, now they come and tell you, be afraid, be very afraid. Well, we're just going to go walk into their offices and do whatever they tell us and not question it at all. Yeah. So it's like, nah, because if we really were moving from some kind of like political strategy, military strategy, understanding how this stuff works, nah, people in the Bay just want to say, no, we want to speak against the government when it's convenient, but when it's not convenient, or speak against oppressors when it's convenient, but when it's not convenient, it really, I got to stand on this. Damn, I might lose my job, or I might be ostracized in this way. Nah, we're just going to cave in and we're just going to play right along with the same gentrifiers, with the same colonizers, right? So we can play these political games and we can say F ICE and we can do all this, whatever the cool, trendy thing is, especially if you can put the race/political divide in the mix. So we're going to play these goofy games and act like fake pseudo activists. But as long as we don't have to really rock the boat on our lives too much, so we can kick it and go to the next day party and drink to the same ratchet ass music that we say we need to stop killing our people, but we support the same ratchet ass music. So no.
Yeah, so it's safe to say, right? We know what Republicans represent, so we ain't gonna talk about Republicans, right? We're gonna talk about the good old second generation Dissy Democrats, right? So it's safe to say, right, for the last 60 years, right, the Democrat has not represented the Black man. Is it safe to say that?
It's entirely accurate.
But I got pushback on it. Because you know why? Because when I don't have a problem telling people this, and you know, I tell people on my channel, I was in special ed, and I see how, and I'm not Black women. I want you to understand this, because they did oppress you too, but they oppressed more the young Black boys than the young Black girls. And you know who mostly in power at that time? Good old Dissy Democrats. Republicans were part of it, so I'm not saying they're not. Good old Dissy Democrats, you know. And these are the one who pushing this racist stuff around it too. Those are, and I'm gonna drop Jews. Now I'm gonna drop Jews on y'all. And remember the late great Adam Clay Powell, right? One of the few congressmen passed over 100 different bills in his career. They call him the Lion, right? They said he was doing stuff. They took seniority away from him back in towards the mid 60s. But I'm gonna tell you what Harlem did. Okay, you took seniority away from him, but he helped build Harlem and also other parts of the country for Black people. Harlem sent him back in '68 without seniority. Now he couldn't really do nothing because he took a seniority. Now I want people to understand and connect the dots here. The same ones they got Adam Clay Powell though. Now he died of cancer in 1972. He died of cancer, and they his ashes they put in the waters of I believe the Virgin Islands, right? But get back to the story, right? The same ones they said Aaron Clay Power did. They got caught in the cookie jar. And those are the ones was oppressed our young black boys of special education throughout this country.
Yeah. But we don't want to have those discussions and really get into that because it's easier to just go with the cool thing and get the backpats and go on social media and post. And again, because I'm from the Bay, right? Like I live in Oakland, I live in Vegas, and still to this day, people want to play these games and want to be pseudo intellectuals and pseudo activists and whatnot. And I started shutting people down and being like, look, if you're really an activist and you really care about what's going on in Gaza Strip and this, that, and the third, and well, F ICE. It was like, well, your money, your tax money is what's paying to send these weapons and support Israel and support ICE and all this. So when you're really ready to take a stand and do some kind of like mass uprising where we say, well, look, we're being extorted for our tax money every year. So you're talking about F this, F that, but then you paying for it. So it's like, well, wait a minute. Well, they can't wrap their minds around that because that's not a sexy, cool discussion to have online, right? You don't get the back pats and props and accolades from your friends and high fives where you get to feel like an activist. I took it even deeper and said, well, before you tell me about how you're oppressed by this, Trump, Biden, what's at the border, this, that, and the third, tell me what you ate today. Tell me how much workout, training, exercise did you do this week? Talk to me about that. And people would scratch their head when I would say that. And I would say, well, you care about all these other external things that's going on in the world. And you're talking about you want to fight something. You're taking action. You're an activist. But it's like, fam, you eat shitty fake food. So I don't take you seriously. And that's what made me say I'm going to go deeper into this health and fitness space thing because people talk all this talk and want to be fake activists, but then ain't got a leg to stand on when it comes to the real activism is, are you eating right? Are you taking care of your body? Because that's the one thing you can control. And that's not some abstraction, right? You can say F ICE and post about that all day because it makes you feel good. But it's like, but you just ate some janky food earlier. So sorry, I don't take you seriously. You're not controlling your own borders. You're not balancing out your own internal politics. So I don't care what you think about Trump. I don't care what you think about Harris or Biden. What did you eat today? Start there. People want to have that discussion. No, that's a whole other topic.
That's a whole other thing.
No, it all ties together. But I'm just saying, people don't want to hear that.
No, they don't want to hear.
Really meets the world is everything circles back to what are you doing on a day-to-day basis.
What? Go back into eating, right? And I'm gonna go to politics here because I'm telling you like this. Now, people talking about like Israel stuff like that. Now, people feel understand in 1948, the United States sided with Israel against the Palestinians. Now, people will say, what do you think of Palestinians? I don't care about the Palestinians because they never liked us anyway, just as Israel never liked us as a people. But they getting billions of dollars off the land that they never had. Again, I'm not on the Palestinian side, however, I'm talking about the policies. We're talking about Israel. The United States get Israel millions of dollars every year.
Oh, for sure. Billions, yeah.
I'm sorry. You're right. Billions of dollars for decades, right? And all of a sudden, you asking me, right? I should care. Why you taking money from our community that we built, send your kids to school while our kids have to suffer in poverty. Now, let me say this. Some of it is our fault. It's in our office because y'all was taking that cookie. Y'all was in your hands. It was in that cookie jar too. But go more, brother AM1. We can't eat right, but we want to say oppressed. But those are the ones who give us the food.
Okay, so here's the thing. Even with that discussion, because I've had this discussion with people, and I go because I'm starting from like almost a reverse engineering the whole spiritual reality, what do we deal with? We are some kind of conscious beings. We're here in these bodies. We got to feed these bodies. We got to transact with, we got to breathe. We got to eat. We got to have shelter. Start from there. The food situation, moving your body properly, it has to be that. So let's take it back to that, and then let's move forward. They got us hemmed up in this money economic situation. You got to pay to live. Okay, there's somewhat transactional, so we got to offer value. But with all the other political, shout out to Niji in the chat, they got us pinned into this tax slavery system, essentially extracting our time and labor resources because we have limited, finite time in this world and ability and time to do things. That's our labor. So that's literally what they have us pinned into. But more importantly, we won't have a leg to stand on to figure out how to move out of a system like that if we're not eating properly and we're not exercising properly. And we know obesity rates are going up, mental health issues are going up. So everything starts back with the food situation. Now, talk to people about that, and they say, well, what about the people who live in food deserts? Or I don't know who to listen to, or I'm going to do this vegetarian diet or whatever. And there's all these discussions about what we're supposed to eat. But there's still a whole lot. Well, for some reason, I just read a stat the other day where it said something like 93% of Americans have some kind of metabolic syndrome, metabolic health issue. And your metabolism, what you eat, directly affects your whole body. I say it all the time: eat fake food, build a fake body. So that means that you're building a fake brain, fake organs, fake everything. So you can't possibly think straight if you don't eat right. And that's not even that's not even getting to all the other toxins and whatnot that come into everybody's, that are going in everybody's body from industrial pollution and all that. So one of the biggest things before people talk about whatever external colonizers or race thing or gender war or whatever oppressing them, what's going on with politics, I say, what did you eat today? What did you eat this week? Because that's when I know people are serious. And that's why I said, I'm going to really leverage my skills as a filmmaker, as a videographer, and as a journalist, more or less, like a video journalist. I really want to push the issue on the diet and nutrition element. Right. So I want to help people walk down this whole thing to where it's like, no, here's what you should eat, and here's why. Here's what I found, and try as much as I can to help people sort that out when they want to. But before that, if they want to talk about all this other stuff, I'm gonna be like, nothing matters. The hottest thing smoking is, what do you eat every day, and are you exercising? Are you moving your body? Because if you're not doing that, all the other arguments, me personally, I just don't take anybody seriously.
I'm glad that you asked that, because there's another question that I want to ask you. Slipped my mind, but I'm gonna get to it. There it is. Why this manosphere? It's like a recycle. It's like you got one that said they runs it. Somebody got stepped down, and another runs it. And it seems like they in the same circle. They're picking the same people. But I thought the manosphere is supposed to help all men, right? That's what I thought. Am I right? I can stand be corrected. Supposed to help all men, right? Especially the black man, right?
So some have said.
Okay.
Yeah, no. And I say like that, maybe similar to myself, it's a misconception. Like the way you thought it was that, or they kind of set it up like that.
Yeah, I thought so too.
They claim it's that, but it's really not that. And then when you get into, we saw the rise and fall of Kevin Samuels. We've seen super chats flying across the screen. We've seen 1 million+ subs from a guy who I used to be on streams with and talk to. So then it goes in people's mind like, ooh. And then we get guys like Angry Man blowing up. And shout out to them. They did their thing. O'Shea blowing up with the celebrity junk stuff. And obviously he leveraged that from having a direct line to Kevin Samuels. And then you had Obsidian, and he kept running it up with the, black female effery, and ended up getting booted off YouTube. But then had O'Shea, I'll say it straight up. O'Shea, even that he admitted to this, that he was trying to essentially install I forgot the young guy's name as the new leader of the Manosphere. So yes, there was guys kind of gatekeeping and trying to position and trying to puppeteer a situation where there would be this Manosphere and keep the topics going. Because from a business perspective, some guys want to say it's just about entertainment. Some guys want to say it is about building better men. And I would argue that it can be somewhere in between. But what we've seen is the cyclical discussions where you get this person comes up, and typically it's all with the same topic over and over. And people say, well, that's what people want to hear. So we're back to the same thing, just like hip hop. And that's why I often can't take a lot of people serious. And I hate to say, I can't take a lot of black folks serious, similar to the discussion I said about what's going on in the Bay, based on the question you asked me. So I find myself sitting back like, man, my people, our people, just don't want to get it together on so many levels whenever we get an opportunity.
So it's safe to say, brother, right? I had every right to feel that way, right?
Yes. I feel the same way. So I see exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
Like people I had people telling me, do you think your channel shadow ban? Yes, it is shadow ban. What are you talking about? Look at the work I've been putting throughout the years. 10 year plus. Look all the, I'm talking about, or go through my channel. My channel is, besides your channel, bro, is a lot more diverse. And I still stuck to like 2,000 some subs. I don't know how many. I don't even look at my watch time. Seems like they ain't moved the needle. They ain't complaining nothing, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, it's almost like a curse. Like if you've come up, I'm thinking maybe YouTube did just kind of mass shadow ban the whole anything associated with too many channels. They created an algorithm and said, if you've associated with these channels in the past, 5 to 10 years, then we're just gonna pigeonhole you over here. Like as you've seen, I don't know if you've looked at my channel. I've been kind of steering into the direction of more health fitness topics. With that and numbers have dropped off. I was closer to like 4,000 and then dropped down to, I don't know, 3,600. I don't even trip off all that.
I peeped that like,
yeah.
What the fuck? I said, what the hell?
Well, because it was like, and I get it. A lot of people are like, well, he's not talking anything about black issues or entertainment stuff. And, I would kind of get into some of the effery and analyze certain things and kind of give my analysis on it. But now everybody just wants the urban junk culture, something, talk about the next ratchet rapper or make fun of that. And I can do that. That's easy. But I want to bring something that's some real value. And I kind of, slap myself in the face sometimes and like face palm, like, man, why did I pick, health, diet, nutrition, fitness? Because geez, try to get black folks going down that path. That's a great way to torpedo your channel because ain't nobody trying to hear that.
Yeah, I did a live, right, a few years ago, right, about how the Europeans was killing our people for skin, to make shirts, to make boots, sneakers. And then even was prominent companies around the world was paying this to happen. No, and so I look at the chat. It's only about 5 or 6. The number up there on top, it was done about 3 or 4. But I brought out something, again, not trying to toot myself horn, that this is they've been doing it throughout the years. I even know I knew what was going on. And you got that many views. Now I'm looking like, so y'all don't mind, so y'all don't mind they kill y'all, they kill y'all for skin and peel you off and wear you out, huh? You don't mind that, huh?
Yeah, I mean, there ain't enough, I don't know, gender conflict involved in that topic. So
yeah, I mean, listen. When our people say, "Oh, you into the men," Yeah, we're into the bank because we both men. We know some women that are no good, but this one I'm saying, y'all picked them. You said they worse and all like that, but you sending pictures and expose yourself. You said $500, and I see some of y'all sending like 500 back to back to back to back to back. And then come to find out, some of y'all are supposed to be married.
Yeah.
So that means you are lowering your production of being masculine.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm saying. Is this brother Alonzo? He said the same thing too. So this is what I'm saying, that go back the comment that you give me. It means a lot to me because brother, we've been in this for a long time, and we always trying to give people the truth. Wants to learn from us, to be better men, better husband, whatever it is. But you know what I found it in this space too? Instead of old young fools, there are old fools out there. They still want to go out there to be part of glory road instead of accept. I could sit in the background and be an elder. Because I'm an OG already. I'm pushing 60. So now I gotta accept being the elder, be part of elder now, be part of elder body. So I got to be that. It just look like, be careful here, you know. That's when the wisdom and the knowledge coming. That's when I call it eternal learning, because eternal learning means you never stop learning to grow. So that's another phase of my life. I forgot to tell you, that's another phase of my life that I had to embrace. But the sad thing about it, you got some elders out there, they don't act like it's elders. Because they want to chase that young coochie. They want to chase that money. They don't care. They supposed to be the backbone. They're supposed to be the backbone of wisdom and knowledge and understanding for these young ones. But they want to be like them. But you take a Viagra and try to get it
Yeah.
and can't get it up.
Yeah.
Because you know why? Because you let Viagra and other stuff replace your masculinity, your morals and values. You don't trust yourself.
All facts.
You know? And long as we put long as they put that Gucci logo on my dead skin.
Oh.
And this is what I'm saying. I mean, like, it's really, really, really sickening that you see other channels blowing up, not hating, and that's what you choose to. That's what you choose to do. Not hating, but what do you think all that toxicness and that nonsense will last though?
You know, that's an interesting question, and I know you're asking that rhetorically, but I don't know, man. Like it's gonna keep going. Like I hate to say it, but I'm just honest. I say 80%, 90% of people are lost, and crazily enough, it seems like it's actually encroaching more into the 90s. So it's just going to be more and more of a niche market thing that people want to be more empowered, or maybe this is more a Black thing. It's all the world for sure. It's all Western world for sure. But when it comes to so-called Black people, the window is closing on people who want more empowerment and true action over just sheer entertainment. And that's a cold game. And that's a sad thing to see. So for you, I mean, you got over a decade on me, and you know, look, talking about the wisdom element in where you should be as a elder, right? And I'm like, you know, I got some OG unk stripes. So I want to make sure I can stand on that. If somebody younger than me comes to me, I want to be able to kick them down some gyms versus I'm trying to run around and be like some, 20-year-old or whatever. Like I'm following the trends, following behind them. trying to run around with the swag and drip like some 20-year-old, but I'm 47. Like what? That's defies the whole hierarchy of masculinity and how you like build a real tribe or a real family. You know what I mean? Like where's the leadership element of that? But it's just not valued. Like real game and real knowledge, real wisdom just isn't really valued. I would say in general, but especially within like, you know, so-called black community, black culture. So it's a sad game, but it is a niche thing to where if you stay on it right and you leverage it right, you do kind of got to dance with certain levels of being entertainment because it just is what it is. Or the value offer just has to be so high that it's just unbeatable. And you just give a unique, you know, this is me talking like as a branding marketing guy. It has to have an interesting twist to it. Your presentation got to be tight, just all those kind of things. But yeah, if you're going to talk about something with some real intelligence, you got to be extra cunning and slick about how to draw people in because people, for the most part, just want to check out after a hard day of work. They want to check out to some drama, some foolishness, or they want to act like fake activists. So there's that part.
Oh, oh, fuck fake H Rap Brown, mother. Well, I mean, listen. Once in a while, I want to be entertained, right?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that makes sense. It's part of life.
Him and Sight, we want to be, you know, entertained, but I mean, it has to come a time, right?
Don't tell me that you're oppressed and your people are oppressed and we're historically oppressed and then turn around and be like, but I got all this time for entertainment though. It's like, fam, if you don't get out of my face with that, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Sorry. I can't take you seriously. I'm gonna just look at you like.
And also said, and let me say this though, and there are some Pan Africans in this space are good. Y'all know who you are, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. Don't say you're Pan African. Don't say you're Pan African, right? But you dealing with a racist woman that carry Confederate flags. Cut it out.
I can't even remotely speak to that.
That's another lie. It is.
Yeah, no, that's just all speaks to the contradictions and all kind of stuff. That's the thing. Yeah. Guys can come online and just be whoever they want to be, say what they want to say. And as long as no one says they got to show receipts, then cool, just run it up. And in my mind, I have trouble BSing. And it's just not in my nature to be fake. And I've done things and had real world success to where I don't need to be fake. I don't need to gas nothing up. I don't need to hype it up. I just do exactly what I am. So the idea of coming online and having like a whole misconception or a whole secret life on the backside of that, or everything I talk about online is some fake facade thing. It's like, I don't even need to do all that. Who got the energy for that? But yes, hella people got the energy for that. And I just can't wrap my mind around it. But yeah, a lot of people are living fake lives and living all kind of contradictions online, talking about all kind of game and dealing with women and red pill, this, that, and the third, and turn around and doing the exact opposite. So we've seen those kind of things be revealed over time. And oddly enough, even with those revelations, we've seen people still rock with those people. So everything's just nothing means anything and everything means nothing. That's a phrase I've been saying for years, to the point where it's like you realize, oh, okay, there is no manosphere. There's no male space. Everything means nothing. Nothing means anything. And it really is just a free for all. So just get rid of all the misconceptions about that. It's supposed to empower people, blah, blah, blah. Now you can do what you do with your channel, of course, but from a collective men building other men, that's just far and few in between, man.
Gotcha. I got it.
I gotta get on but let's set up and do another one. Because there's a lot more we can talk about, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. Because I was going to say, if there's any question you want to ask about me, if not, make it last. This is how we do it. Make it last remarks. You stay right there. Make my last remarks. We're going to close as a family. So if there's no more question asked about me, you make it last remarks.
Yeah, man. No, just like I said, we've been rocking out on this thing for years. Google Hangout days and all we used to have some good old time.
We did, right?
Interacting with the guys. And that was a real dope part of my life in the sense that, like I said, doing stuff in the real world, build my business, build my company. But there's guys who I've been interacting with and talking to for years, literally, that are real solid guys who I've never met in person. That's why when I would drop into your chats and you'd be like, man, and well, let's do a one-on-one. And I was like, yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. It was just a matter of the timing. But like I said, honored to be here. Appreciate us finally being able to pull up and, kind of circle back and have a chat, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and it's definitely going to be a part 2.
I'm down.
It's going to be a part. I don't know soon it's going to be, but it's going to be a part 2. He's a busy man, but it's going to be a part 2 and everything. I would say my last remark is, I appreciate you, brother. I got your back. Don't even worry about don't. Maybe you already knew, but I got your back, and still fight for us, please. I know that is, and these other brothers too. That we want to don't give up, because I need you. We need each other, because it's gonna be up to us turn around. Now we ain't gonna be moving up the ladder like we supposed to, but I understand what I'm saying. Masculinity has to be pure. Despite being perfect, have to be morals and values and stuff. Self-value is important. Self-security is important. If you need to change something, it's all right. Because at the end of the day, you're going to win. And you can see things much more clear. Don't be like them dirty potato bums. Don't want to do nothing. Want to keep on talking about women. Ain't getting nothing. I think they don't get nothing. I think y'all be whapping off. I think y'all love that Vaseline Johnson baby lotion. I'm just putting it out. Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about this part 2. Cause I ain't finished with y'all yet. You know what you're doing. Yes, you do. You doing pull-ups. You know. And they don't be these young ones either. It be these old fogies out there.
Yo, that's crazy.
Dr. Nerd talk about masculinity. Oh yeah, I'm this and that. I seem like your hand is bigger than the other. I'm just let me get out. I'm not messing with brother AM1. AM1 always start me up, man. I ain't messing with you no more. But it will be a part 2.
Oh yeah, I'm down, man, for sure.
It's gonna be a part 2 because we got a whole lot the cover and stuff like that, and also we're gonna you're gonna ask more questions about me too and everything. But thanks again, brother. Thank you so much. This has been good. We needed this.
Most definitely. I enjoyed it, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, brother.
You have a good evening.
Most definitely.
Good morning. Part 2 be soon. Remember, part 2 be soon. And go support this brother. All right, we need our help. If we want to be transparent in every level, we want a brother that he just saying, just show me something, and I'm right there. You're not gonna find that many brothers in this space like that. So let's support that. If we need support financially, let's do that. Support them free wherever we can. We got to keep them around.
I appreciate that.
Got to keep them around. Not just men, but black women too. Understand that. Thanks a lot, brother. Have a good night.
Right on, bro. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you as always. This one is Ghost.